Oh.
Welcome back to HIVEMIND Unlimited.
And welcome back to another episode of How Did It Age? Our movie series where we watch older movies and reevaluate them with modern context. Today's movie is a 2004 film called The Spongebob Squarepants Movie.
Right? That's how he does it? My leg! My eyes!
Created by Steven Hillenburg, who
Yes.
is my hero. Rest in peace.
Yes, Rip the Hillster. This 2004 Paramount Pictures movie, it made $141.1 million against a $30 million budget, which is really amazing. Made a lot of money for its day. SpongeBob was at the peak of his powers here, or maybe not, because the one everybody hated the animation for, the sponge out of water, that made like $325 million. If the SpongeBob SquarePants movie could come out today, I really feel like it's like a $500 million movie because animated movies have really picked up so much steam as like blockbuster summer, like all the Despicable Me's, whatever, the Spidey verses and stuff. Before its time, huge success nonetheless. It has a 7.2 on IMDb, 68% Rotten Tomatoes, 3.9 on letterboxd. It is overall beloved. Even our guy Roger Ebert gave it 3 out of 4 and said it was the good burger of animation, which is so great.
That is, it's kind of trapped in time as a reference.
Yeah.
Because Good Burger was such a thing.
Right.
But nowadays it hasn't like lived the same life, and SpongeBob is the SpongeBob of animation.
Ooh, that's cold the way you just said that. That is cold.
Also, Steven Hillenburg, I will say, his whole thing was that he didn't want any spin-offs to be made. He didn't want, that was like, I hate to say his dying wish, but in a lot of ways, he talked about how he wanted SpongeBob to live on its own and be its own thing. Yeah. And all of these things have happened that are just against the original mantra of SpongeBob. He wanted it to be just that.
Well, he wanted it to end after this movie, essentially. He thought this movie kind of as the conclusion. That's why, like, we'll get into the plot and stuff, but that's why Bob gets, like, the promotion at the end. That's supposed to be, like, the conclusion of this whole little journey, encapsulate everything. Like, oh, he finally becomes manager. That door's shut. Yeah. And he didn't even want to do a movie after watching, like, Iron Giant and Toy Story with his son, apparently, at the time. He was like, my character can't fit in something that long. Like that's like too much for a SpongeBob story. And then he was like convinced by doing like more of like an Odyssey, like a tale. Like if you send these two doofuses on a actual journey, like maybe there's more comedy there. And that's how he got rolling on the movie.
Speaking of, would you like to hear my synopsis of the movie?
Oh yeah, hit me upside the head with that synopsis.
For those who have not seen the SpongeBob SquarePants movie or have not seen it in a while, here's what happens. SpongeBob SquarePants is a fry cook with 374 consecutive Employee of the Month awards at his place of work, the Krusty Krab. When his boss, Mr. Krabs, announces he is opening a second restaurant, Bob assumes he's a shoo-in for manager. However, Krabs has other plans. He hires SpongeBob's co-worker, Squidward, citing maturity issues. Meanwhile, Krabs' rival restaurateur Plankton, owner of the much less successful Chum Bucket, devises a new plan to steal the Krusty Krab's secret Krabby Patty recipe. This plan involves stealing King Neptune's crown, pinning it on Krabs, leaving him frozen, and leaving the recipe vulnerable to theft. Unfortunately, this plan works, but SpongeBob takes this as an opportunity to prove his maturity. He and his best friend Patrick decide to journey through the scary sea to recapture Neptune's crown and save the Krusty Krab.
Spoiler alert, they succeed.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a happy movie. It's a comedy.
It is a bit of a comedy, so much so that before they started animation, Hillenburg made all the cartoonists.
The animation guys?
Animation guys, they all had to watch like Charlie Chaplin, Laurel and Hardy, Buster Keaton movies, and like other like Jerry Lewis and like Pee Wee Herman stuff. So it was like a lot of silent film, like very like gag inspired physical comedy stuff. And then Jerry Lewis and Pee Wee Herman, obviously like a tap dancing and explosion of like expression and stuff. And a lot of that comes through in like all the little physical jokes they write and stuff. It's very like classic in a way. Like it's funny.
Yeah, there's tons of references to old movies in this that you wouldn't pick up. Like it's another thing. Like they always say that SpongeBob worked because there's two ways to watch it. If you're an adult, you identify with Squidward, and if you're a kid, you identify with SpongeBob. But this movie also also kind of like it worked for the parents because there's references to things that they have seen, whether it be like spot on references like the Titanic, you know, with the boat sinking or whatever. There's also references that are just kind of like, oh, this is like an old Western, or this is like a crime movie, or this is like a Charlie Chaplin silent movie thing. There's a tap dancing scene that's a reference to an old Turner Classic movie thing. And it's like, there's a lot of stuff like that that parents would pick up on that kids don't. And I remember not even understanding a lot of the references or things in this. I was just a kid being like, haha, SpongeBob funny.
Yeah, all the stuff I didn't get, I thought it was just absurd, and down to like, even, you know, our star cameo that comes from David Hasselhoff. An older audience finds that so funny because he's dressed as a lifeguard. He's still working at the beach, and he's in that similar Baywatch like setting that everybody older knew him from. But then to a kid, you either vaguely heard that name or you've never heard of him at all, and it was just funny. That like, this
there's a lot of
guy.
people who were like, "Oh, David Hasselhoff from the SpongeBob movie."
Oh yeah, and he loved it too. He was like, it gave me a whole new swath of fans. Like a whole new generation was like ushered in as Hasselhoff fans, and oddly enough, like Hillenberg and whatever, the rest of the directing team here, like that's kind of his vibe even outside of this movie. Like even in Baywatch, he's kind of just this like awkwardly stoic, like weird persona. Like he is just hairy, hunky Hasselhoff.
Yeah.
And then they just like boil him down to a little character, but it still works. Like it's the same guy. He's not like playing a character, really.
No, not at all. He's playing himself, except in this one, he's also somehow a motorboat.
Yeah, and that prop, if you look up that prop, it's like one of the funniest things of all time. One, it's amazingly done. Like it looks just like him, but it's like 4 times human size in order for it to be like a little motorboat. And there's a great picture of Hasselhoff standing next to it, and it's like, look at that, kind of cursed.
Have you seen this movie before?
Yeah, I had this.
Sorry, had you seen this movie before? I realized that my tense was wrong there.
Have I? Boy, have I.
Uh-huh.
I had it recorded on a VHS.
Oh.
Like I taped it when I was on TV, and I'd take it over to my Gammy and Pops' house, and I remember fast forwarding through the commercials.
Wow.
And I remember fast forwarding at times like through certain scenes I didn't like scenes that didn't have jokes or were like kind of sad. I'd be like, let's get to the slap dancing part.
I had this. I watched. I don't know how many times I've seen it. A lot. I've seen this movie many, many times.
I haven't seen it in probably at least 10 years.
Oh, it's more than that for me.
I found us quoting it.
Yeah, I still knew what lines were coming up. I was like, I can't believe I remember this.
You don't need a license to drive a sandwich. I was like, how is that buried in my subconscious? I haven't thought about this in so long. And like, right as it came up, I looked at you. I was like, yep, no, this line.
You got a family, Phil?
Let's talk about that family.
Stay with me.
Before we get into lines and scenes and everything, I do want to shout out the voice actors in this movie. You have Tom Kenny as SpongeBob. You have Bill Fagerbakke as Patrick Star. You have Clancy Brown as Eugene Krabs. You have Roger Bumpus as Squidward. Douglas Osowski as Plankton. Alec Baldwin as Dennis. Now we're getting into the fun cameos here in the movie. You have Alec Baldwin as Dennis. Scarlett Johansson as Princess Mindy. Jeffrey Tambor, who you might know from like Curb Your Enthusiasm or something, is in King Neptune. And of course,
Arrested Development.
Yes, that's the one I was thinking about. Old white Jewish stuff, nonetheless.
Totally, yeah.
And of course, Hasselhoff plays a boat.
So let's talk about our favorite lines from this movie.
Shit on me. As I said, you don't need a license to drive a sandwich. That one's a great early one. I love the early line where Perch Perkins, who, shout out Perch Perkins, he's so handsome.
Such a great name, too. Oh.
Plankton fawning over him later. Anything for you, Perch. But when he's first introducing or interviewing Mr. Krabs at the opening of the Krusty Krab 2, which is dangerously close to racist, they hold the mic, and I love that a little thing about Mr. Krabs' character is that he's just really bad on TV. Yeah. He's like, money. He goes, hello, I like money.
Like, why did you decide to open up a Krusty Krab 2? He's like, money. It's so good.
Awesome.
He's like stiff as shit. Yeah. It's so funny.
Really, really good. Now it's your turn.
I was dying at the monologue that SpongeBob gives in the Krusty Krab after he shows up drunk from the ice cream scene.
Yes.
I feel weird skipping over that. Like, okay,
sure.
they go to the Goofy Goober place. Like, SpongeBob is all sad because because he didn't get the manager job.
Yeah.
And originally he's about to leave. He's like, I'm not in the mood for this.
I'm
And
out.
then he sees Patrick's double cherry swirl or whatever it is and is like, well, maybe I'll stay for one. And then it shows them a montage of them getting drunk off ice cream.
Yep.
They don't say they're drunk, but it's obvious what they're referencing.
Cross-eyed. I love when they're on stage and he's got the mic. I want to give a shout out to his big peanut.
Yeah. He shows up hungover the next day. He wakes up at 8 a.m. inside Goofy Goober and is like, I'm late for work.
Yeah.
And then he goes and he gives this monologue in front of King Neptune. And it is, I was dying laughing at just the way he's talking. He starts off with a glowing review. He's like, I used to think Mr. Krabs was a great boss. And then he eventually goes, then I realized he's just a big jerk. And then he's like, I think you get the point. The point.
It's great.
It's so good.
I'll get into my gripes with the lack of side characters in it, but honestly, the first 20 minutes of this movie is so good because you're kind of getting a taste of everyone. Like, we only see Sandy and Pearl at the, like, a new manager announcement thing. They get, like, a shout out in that, and that's, like, it.
Yeah.
But
I know,
whatever.
Larry the Lobster, I don't even know if he's in it.
He's in the chum bucket when they first
Right.
start doing that's it.
Right, it's crazy. But
Yeah.
I mean, I will say, just to add to that point, I wrote down how funny it is that the SpongeBob movie has to set up all the original. Like the first 10 minutes, they're like, Plankton is like, I'm trying to steal the secret recipe
Right.
for the Krabby Patty from the Krusty Krab.
Yeah.
I work at the Chum Bucket.
Yeah.
SpongeBob's a kid. Patrick's his friend. Squidward is his neighbor who always is so annoyed with him. Like they're like really setting up all these plot lines, and it feels crazy because I think everybody in the world knows the normal plots of SpongeBob now, but 2004,
Yeah, they were
it was
only
explaining
4
it to the
seasons in.
parents.
Yeah.
Like it was explaining all of this stuff, and it is very funny to watch.
Yeah, and this leads me perfectly into my first Plankton line that I love. One, when he's in the chum bucket, he goes, oh, Karen, my computer wife. Like he says, my computer wife. And then you're like, oh, I guess he's married to a computer. But he gets all worked up and he turns into like a veiny little dick.
Yep.
And he's about to pop. And Karen goes, don't get so worked up, Plankton. I just mopped the floor, which like implies that when Plankton gets worked up, he squirts or something or inks. I don't know what Plankton do, but he was gonna mess the place up. It was gonna get messy in there.
He does get messy. He cries like crazy at the it's wild. I also love when Squidward goes into the chum bucket, how much they set him up as like a snobby liberal.
Oh, that's one of my favorite lines in the whole movie.
Yeah.
I have the whole thing written down.
Yeah, go for it.
He said, you may have hoodwinked everyone in this backwater town, but you can't fool me. I listen to public radio, which is kind of how I feel after like 2 martinis and someone starts getting me pissed off.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, no, not me, buddy. I listen to NPR.
Yeah, NPR's still crackling in my car. The car's been off for 20 minutes and it's still crackling in there on a low volume.
Yeah, that is awesome.
I love Backwater Town. I wrote that because it's like
Backwater Town's
backwoods.
great. Yeah.
You know, like oh, this is like backwoods old, like, you know.
And hoodwinked.
Oh, yeah.
Hoodwinked everyone in this backwater town is just awesome.
Yeah, for kids.
Yeah.
How are you saying this in front of kids?
And then public radio, like that joke isn't for a child. That has no reference for them. They're just like, haha, he listens to radio.
Yeah. One of my favorite gags in this too is when SpongeBob's trying to explain the scary trench.
Yeah.
And Patrick's like helping him out. He's like stumbling over his words.
Yeah.
Like he's like, it's deep and treacherous. And Patrick's like, oh, full of monsters. Make sure you say full of monsters. Like he's like trying to get him there. He's like, oh yeah, full of monsters. Like it's very much like I can imagine the actual voice acting booth there. Like there's something about it that breaks the fourth wall, or I don't know. There's something really good about that.
Before I get to maybe the undisputed kind of consensus best line, what I think is the movie is, I love when SpongeBob is signing up for this journey. And he's like, I'll give you 10 days or something. And Patrick goes, he could do it in 9. And then Neptune's like, 8. And he's like, 7. And it's like when you're mouthing off to the judge at your sentencing.
Yep.
And they're like, we'll give you 6 years. And he's like, is that all? And they're like, 7. And it just keeps going up.
And I love that then they stop Patrick. He gets like, he's like getting
They're choking
choked.
him.
And then he goes, 5.
Fun.
Other lines that I love when they're in the fishbowl and SpongeBob's like, what is this place? And Patrick's like, I don't know. I think it's some sort of wall of psychic energy.
Yeah, that is great.
It's like, how does he even know to say that?
How does he know like what psychic energy is? He's never given us an inkling of like the idea that he knows what psychic powers is so funny.
Yeah. My other favorite Patrick moment is well, my favorite line is a Patrick line, but I'll get to that in a second. Another one that I love, and it cracked me up so much. I think I laughed the hardest when they're standing at the edge of the trench. And he's like, forget about the car. Where's the road? Road. It goes out and then it comes back. And Patrick goes, road.
It's just him repeating it.
And then he goes, sorry. It got me again.
Yeah.
I like knew it was gonna happen, and I still was like, God, that is such a funny bit.
I think along the journey before they get to the trench, there's two great lines. One being, I'll get it out of the way. At the Thug Tug, when they're talking about bubbles and all the tough guys hate bubbles, the mantra of all the regulars at the bar is all bubble blowing babies will be beaten senseless by every able-bodied patron in the bar.
Yes.
They repeat that as a group 2 or 3 times, and each time there's one guy in the group that's off beat, or he says something extra because it's like, well, beaten patron in the bar. Like one guy in the group says a little bar off, after, which is just like a funny little hidden thing. But that fact that they're almost like tired of saying it. It's like when the leader's like, what do we do about babies? All bubble blowing babies will be beaten senseless by every able-bodied patron in the bar. Yeah, it's so good. That timing is just perfect. And then when SpongeBob is like convinced that they are babies and they're not men, this is before Mindy applies the kelp mustaches. He's trying to convince Patrick that they are actually babies, and Patrick's trying to stand up. And at the end of that little monologue, SpongeBob is like, we worship a peanut for crying out loud.
He's like, we don't worship him.
Yeah, and then he pulls his pants down.
What do you call that?
He goes, funny.
Worship. Yeah, he's wearing underwear with the peanut on it. I also love during the turning them into men scene with the kelp mustaches and stuff. Before that, she goes, I am going to use my magic to turn you guys into men. All right, close your eyes. And the moment they close their eyes, SpongeBob goes, are we men yet? I lost it.
And then it's like, goes back to Minnie. She's like, not yet. She's thinking of something. And it goes back to them. And they're like doing a ballerina dance while they wait, which is just so great. Are we men yet? And then they're like, oh, we're going to be men.
Yeah. My favorite line in the entire movie, for sure, is that I know that everybody talks about how sad it is when they're drying out, in the gift shop. Yeah. They're under all these lights and they're crusty. They look crazy. They're like, and then SpongeBob has this like, kind of summing it up line, just like, well, it looks like everything they said about us is true. And Patrick goes, what, that we're attractive? That we're attractive?
That is, yeah.
I was like, what a line.
And then SpongeBob's arm cracks off and he puts it back on upside down and he goes, thanks, buddy.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. It's great.
There's obviously not a ton of scenes that like aged poorly.
The only thought I had is like, is there maybe some underlying homophobia with the all bubble blowing babies will be beaten senseless by every patron in the bar?
I see that more as like an antiquated masculinity thing. And not like quite like, we don't like little gay kids. I see it as like, you guys aren't rough and tough. You are like, almost like you're like artsy or something.
Yeah, is this movie like kind of, it's like is it going at conservatives?
A little bit,
but I think it's going also at snobby liberals because Squidward is like an unlikable character.
Right, and I think like the idea of like the trench folks is more like rural conservatives. They're almost like, they're like tough biker South Dakota kind of like,
yeah,
we don't need that city. They're like 1%ers, you know what I mean? It's like a biker gang.
Yeah.
Early scene, one of the first scenes of the movie, when SpongeBob's having a dream before he's even awake, he's like fantasizing about the next day and becoming manager, but he has to like defuse a bomb in the Krusty Krab. Is that, that's like the vibe of it. But he's really just trying to get the guy like the meal he wants.
Oh yeah, he just ordered a Krabby Patty and there's no cheese on it.
Right, but
and that's Phil. Yeah,
he comes in like there's a bomb strapped to
he
Phil's
puts a
chest.
glove on. He does the whole thing where he's just like, "You got a family, Phil?"
He's like, I don't know. And he's like, quiet, Phil. Let's hear about that family.
He's like, "Stay with me. Let's hear about that family, Phil." It is, yeah. I mean, the delivery of those lines is fantastic.
Yeah, it's really, really good. And I just love that, like, it's a movie and they like instantly right away put SpongeBob in such like an intense, they put him in the climax of like a detective crime thriller.
Yeah, his idea of being manager is so badass that he thinks he's dealing with something that is the whole town is watching.
Yeah.
And I like the little pump fake that they do in that. There's like a beeping sound that happens and you think that's going to be the alarm, but then it's not, because the kids know what SpongeBob's alarm sounds like.
Right.
So it does the little beeping thing and you're like, okay, he's about to wake up. And then it goes again and it goes to the honk of the cheering and that's his actual alarm.
Yeah.
And that is what wakes him up.
Yeah, and then, we get his morning routine, which we get a lot in the show, but this one's a little different and it's tons of good sight gags. I like that even his toothpaste has two.
His toothbrush is two-pronged and his toothpaste is two prongs. But my favorite thing that he does there is he brushes his eyes.
Yeah, he gets you all the way to the end.
You see that he has two teeth, you know that, and you see him do the thing and he puts the toothpaste on and then you're like, okay, he's going to brush both of his teeth. That's funny. Brushes his eyes.
Yeah, that's like classic Laurel and Hardy shit. Like that's like, oh, here it comes. And then the misdirection at the very end.
Yeah,
and you're
it's
like,
Three Stooges.
Yeah.
It's great.
I have a problem with why he has a butt, but we don't have to get into that.
Oh, let's get into it. Yeah.
Seasons 1 through 3, no ass. He's seen naked a bunch of times too, or not even naked. He has no genitalia and he's without clothes many a times in those seasons.
Right.
And then they give him an ass and they lean into butt humor a little more. Like Patrick flies in. Did you see my butt? Mm-hmm. And at post season 4, when Hillenburg becomes just kind of like the final judge, like he's not in the day-to-day process of like storyboarding and stuff like he was, the humor starts to get more like poopy and gross and slapsticky and butts and stuff. So I think this is an early sign of going into butt humor.
You love butt humor though, and
not on Sponge.
Here's what I will say also, as just I'm not trying to like trample your point here, but they're shapeshifters. Like they grow different body parts all the time. Like they're doing random.
But that's why a sponge wouldn't need genitalia, because that's how they reproduce. They're asexual. They could just they sprout.
Okay, but it's not like he has a fucking penis.
I don't know why you're swearing at me.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Okay, it's not like he has a flipping penis.
That's better.
But he has a butt sometimes, and sometimes he doesn't have a butt. He also sometimes is like a muscular guy. Sometimes he has like a long nose. Sometimes his nose shrinks the tiny, his eyes get huge, and he's all crusty.
Okay, I said we didn't have to get into it.
I think it's important that we do get into it.
I love the scene where they get drunk at Goober's.
I love that scene too. I also love when they bounce on their butts at the beginning and Patrick's bouncing on his butt and being like, good luck with the I'll see you with the promotion, SpongeBob.
And he like turns around and is still singing the song.
I'm a goofy goober, yeah.
I love when they're getting drunk and they're eating so much ice cream and it's starting to cover waiter. It's starting to cover him so much. He becomes the sundae.
Yes.
Like he's not just getting covered in slop. It's like sculpting him. He gets the bananas in the ear and then the cherry on top. I'm like, that's so stupid.
Oh, it's great.
But it's just great.
One of my favorite scenes early in the movie is when Neptune comes into the Krusty Krab to confront Mr. Krabs about stealing his crown. And all of a sudden, just the answering machine appears behind him. It's a call from this guy, Clay, who's just like, thank you for selling me the crown, Neptune's crown. And he keeps like, that vocal performance is so funny. It's just like, hey, Mr. Krabs, I just want to thank you again for selling me the crown, Neptune's crown. And just continues on and be like, thanks again for selling me the crown, Neptune's crown. It's
the most damning piece of evidence. And like, even after he smashes it, it's like broken and the wires are out. It's like, all right, anyway, gotta go. Thanks again for the crown. Neptune's crown.
Clay.
Clay is
I
great.
love also the names are so funny.
I really think underrated scene and like set of characters is right when they get to the county line of Bikini Bottom.
Oh, these two dudes.
The gas station hicks.
Yeah.
Because they pull up in a sandwich, and this isn't even a joke, but this is like something we would say. So the one guy goes, "Hey, fellas, what'd she take? Mustard or ketchup?" And it's a knee slap before laughing. It's like they deliver the joke, and then it goes,
Yeah. And then they're like banging their heads into each other's butts. Yeah.
they just lose it, bro. They get kind of whatever in the fight with SpongeBob and Patrick. And they're like, "You kids won't make it 10 seconds over the county line." They drive over, and a criminal is so polite. This big tough fish in front of the sandwich goes, "Get out of the car, fellas."
Yeah. All right, fellas, out of the car.
And then they get out. He hops in the burger, drives away. They turn back across the line. The framing is so good because they're just on the half line of the county line that is like dirty, desolate, and scary. You got the gas station hicks kind of as the Bikini Bottom's last dance. And they're on one side, hicks are on the other. And SpongeBob's like, "How long was that?" And he goes, 12 seconds. And then there's like a nice little beat of rest. And then SpongeBob and Patrick are like, "In your face!" And they like are so proud of themselves. They like are laughing. They're like, "You fucking idiots. Didn't think we'd last 10 seconds? We lasted 12.
Yeah.
And then they like skip away. Car stolen, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's so funny. And then when Dennis pulls up in his motorcycle and big hat, you get the gas station hicks one last time. And they go, "Hey, mister, that hat take 10 gallons?"
Yeah.
They are so good. I like kind of those were like side characters I had completely forgotten about.
Yeah, and Dennis also is loosely based on Raising Arizona.
Yeah, which is a great little Easter egg.
A Nicolas Cage movie that they're just referencing with this villain, which is a
funny.
hilarious reference. There are some plot holes, and I guess we could get into those really quick.
Yeah, please.
Plankton has never had a customer at the Chum Bucket. He's very jealous of the Krusty Krab, which has booming business due to its famous item, the Krabby Patty.
Correct.
But then all of a sudden, Plankton is able to afford all of these mind control buckets. It's like first day.
Plankton's like an inventor.
Yeah, but it's strange though. Like, where is he getting all the capital?
Oh, I don't think he has to raise money like that. I think he creates.
Okay.
That's always the vibe I get from Plankton is that he is like a scientist, a chemist, an inventor.
Yeah.
Because he has like, he's got like the little buzz helmet. He's like flying around.
He's a computer wife.
He has a computer wife.
Where does he get all the scrap metal and stuff? Because there are many buckets, and they also can mind control.
Newsflash, buddy. The ocean is full of human waste.
Is metal human waste?
Yeah.
Metal's made out of poop?
Prick.
I had no idea metal was made out of poop. That is interesting.
Yeah.
Huh, okay.
I mean, all right, hear me out on this. Well, this isn't really a plot hole, but this is just my tapping into my desire of like, because like now as going back as a long time, whatever, grew up with SpongeBob, I guess I like forgot how much the side characters weren't in it. And it's really disappointing that we don't get like this whole side plot that's missing should be like Squidward teaming up with like
Sandy and Larry.
Sandy and Larry and Mrs. Puff and Pearl. And you should have like this unlikely ragtag team of like what are usually the side character in SpongeBob and Patrick's story. They should all team up and like use their own little skills because like Sandy could be immune to the helmets because she has her own helmet. Squidward could use the clarinet or something. Mrs. Puff could use any of her cars, like her sick driving
it's a
ability.
fleet, yeah.
Pearl is large and could do something with that. Right. Or the blowhole.
Maybe Larry does like a surfing song about their scheme to take down the Chum Bucket.
And he's so strong he could like punch a couple helmets off or something. Like,
yeah.
All of that is missing. And
maybe they do like a claw machine gag where Larry is taking the buckets off of people's heads.
Look at that.
You know what I mean? The crane machine. I mean, a lot of this stuff there are some missed opportunities.
For sure. And I think we fill that space with a lot of the larger than life or rather real life stuff that's inserted in the movie. And I will say does make it feel like the stakes are higher and our main characters are on this crazy journey and you kind of need them drying up in Shell City, avoiding the Cyclops, who's actually the scuba diver from 1922, who is like a scuba diver who stocks his own souvenir shop by going into the ocean.
Right, totally.
Which is awesome.
And also just keeps his outfit on the whole time.
It's rootsy.
He is like, he's putting the googly eyes on stuff while he's still wearing his deep sea gear. It's very weird.
And he has like a very much, it's just obviously Fladgerbach or whatever. It's like got Patrick's laugh, but it's like a little evil. It's like, ha, 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 ha. But yeah, I wish that was more of a side plot that was fleshed out, but whatever. That's my 2 cents. And then the Deus Ex Machina at the end, where SpongeBob gets a electric guitar delivered to him that can just shoot the helmets off.
Yeah, it shoots lasers.
Because they go on this journey, they come back from the journey, and then Neptune immediately gets bucket-headed anyway. And it's like, okay, their journey was pointless. Now everyone's screwed and under mind control. How are they going to stop this? Oh, why doesn't a guitar fall from the heavens while he's performing a music number, and then he saves everyone? There's just no build up to that, and it makes everything they've done before that feel a little pointless.
I mean, yeah, but Neptune wouldn't even be on their side unless he has his crown returned to him.
Yeah, that's true, but he's not on anyone's side but Plankton's once they get back there.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like when he shoots the laser, if he was able to shoot the lasers with this guitar the whole time and take off the buckets of everybody, we still got Neptune there with the Triton, and he's gonna shoot Mr. Krabs and explode him.
It would have been a Voldemort, Harry Potter laser.
Totally, and that hadn't even happened yet.
Major laser too. That would have been a major laser battle.
Major laser.
Dip low!
You better dip low. If you get out of the way of the major laser. But the Now That We're Men song, I remember growing up, I thought it was funny, I guess, but like I remember being like, oh, we're gonna have to listen to the Now That We're Men song, and it really worked for me this time.
Oh yeah, because it is, again, it's harkening back to like old school. That's like the Jerry Lewis stuff right there. Like I can see Jerry Lewis tap dancing on the stage and like putting a little hat on someone and being like, now that we're men.
And it's a montage scene. They need to have them cross through there.
And I think
in 2 minutes.
That's one of the best scenes in the movie.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I love that they are convinced. Like they have blind confidence now. You get the different animations. I love the close up where it's like fluttering. And then with their blind confidence, they're traversing this stuff that they usually wouldn't. And you know that they're not invincible. And they're actually getting really lucky. Like they jump over the little lava spouts, and at each one, it goes off after they leave. When they cross the water, the things like fall in. When they're in the palm of an evil big sea creature, that's when they do the slap dancing. While they're doing it, I love the big fish goes, and then his other friends come and watch it, and right as it like concludes, they go, now that they're men. They win over all of the scary sea creatures.
And at first they're in a lot of danger, but they're getting really lucky. And then eventually they're all cheering for them.
They
they're
escort them.
They're like, yes, we would love, please go get that crown. And then the confidence that they have in front of Dennis, where they're like, yeah, you caught me on a good day, Dennis. So we're gonna let you off with just a warning. They they're so convinced that they have the upper hand here when they clearly do not. And then I love also, it's just like a classic movie thing of like, he's ready to stomp on them, but Alec Baldwin's got to get some lines off. So he's just like, oh boy, I've been waiting for this. I can't wait to stomp on you. And they're like under it, like, and you know they're not going to get stomped on, but it's great.
And then, you get the sad Shell City scene, which is great. I love that when the magical tear, you like zoom back out to the pirates watching the movie, you kind of break your wall there, goes back in, all the animals start to come back to life with moisture, which is awesome. But then the iconic Hasselhoff riding them out to Bikini Bottom scene when they're fighting Dennis on the back of Hasselhoff, and like the spikes like go into his back or whatever. He turns around, he breaks from the animatronic thing and goes, hey, easy back there, Phyllis. It's like, whoa, easy.
Fun fact about Baywatch, by the way. I learned this, I forget when, but like the original slow motion scenes in Baywatch
with the boobs.
Yeah, they did those because the first episodes that they filmed, they didn't film enough footage.
Oh, so they're just filling time.
Yeah, they're just filling time. So the thing that became iconic about Baywatch, they literally did that because they didn't have enough footage to fill the episodes.
Wow, that's just like the BLT.
What do you mean?
Well, they only made a BLT because they didn't have any other meat.
The bacon, lettus, and tomato?
Yeah, it was supposed to be a chicken bacon club,
turkey salami
club, but they're out of everything, so it was almost like a joke. Like, here's a sandwich.
And then it works.
Yeah, and then the tits were fake.
So the slow motion Baywatch scenes are the BLT of TV. Boom.
Got it. Understood.
Alexander Clam Bell.
Alexander Clam Bell. Got a shout out to him.
I mean, that's something. That's something for the parents.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Because they're just making a little knick-knack.
Really old parents, if they remember Alexander Graham Bell.
Well, yeah, but they still remember him.
I don't remember him.
I don't remember him like in real life, but I know about
He's way older than me.
He made the iPhone, though.
He graduated high school like way before me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, AGB.
AGB.
Shout out to AGB. You already mentioned the guitar scene and all that stuff. And I did just write down, I mean, this is ultimately a movie about the power of rock and roll.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
yeah, like there's a lot of stuff that happens, but it really comes down to SpongeBob doing basically the song remains the same, the Led Zeppelin thing.
Yep.
And just spinning around and shooting the lasers off. You know, mind control can be thwarted through the power of rock and roll. It frees your mind.
Yeah, I feel like Plankton is representing like almost like shitty pop music. He's like Huey Lewis in the News.
See, I think he's more like the head of Sony. He's kind of like the Leor Cohen.
Nice.
Plankton is the Leor Cohen of the sea.
Yeah.
And SpongeBob is Robert Plant.
Nice.
I don't know if they had anything to do with each other, but at the same time,
I like it.
I'm a goofy goober. Rah!
Yeah, I don't care. I like it.
It's awesome. Tom Kenny. Do you mean in this movie specifically, the voice acting from SpongeBob, it carries the movie for me.
The only thing, and I haven't mentioned this, his speaking voice it's pitched up for the movie, which I don't like. I don't know why they did that. Like it is higher pitch. Some people think it was because of like Finding Nemo's release or something about like the tonality in animation films at that time. They wanted to like fit in the vein of other beloved characters or something.
Weird.
Which is weird, but like after 4 seasons, why be like, oh, in the movie he's gonna talk a little higher pitch.
The Alan Alda movie?
Yeah.
4 seasons? I feel like I don't know how that really paves the way for this.
Smart ass. I'm gonna say Hasselhoff. He's the only person in it, and
he's not the only person in it. There's a bunch of pirates.
Yeah, but they're also. Why didn't Tom Kenny just do the pirate role with Patchy?
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Because that's like in the episodes, the TV special ones where you have the pirate. It's like Tom Kenny does it, and that's like a character all the kids were familiar with, and then all of a sudden we get this real looking pirate asshole.
I do like the setup though. I think it's funny that they're gathering all their gear, and you think they're gonna like whatever, and then they go to the movie theater.
I love the setup, but it should just be Tom Kenny doing that. The pirate that we're already familiar with.
I don't know. Maybe he was getting his voice pitched up by the doctor or whatever.
Yeah, probably.
I said it'd be 3D and have underlying themes about racism and homophobia.
Yep.
Like most animated movies these days.
Pretty much. I said it'd be realistic 3D animation and there'd be like cameos from other cartoons that are going on now.
Fucking Timmy Turner.
And that would be like none of the jokes would be inspired by old silent slapstick comedies like Buster Keaton.
It'd be like Rick and Morty. There'd be like stoner jokes in there.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be like, Patrick, don't smoke too much bubbles.
Yeah, and he'd be like, oh, I'm so fucking high. SpongeBob, I'm sorry that I showed up late. I was just high off kush and shit.
I hope this isn't sativa that makes me shit. It'd be like stuff like that.
SpongeBob, you know that mushrooms are legal in 13 states? Oh, I hated it.
Yeah.
That one.
I hated that one. What would your recast be?
Recast. I said, how do you recast this? I guess Bill Hader could be SpongeBob.
I said you would include the side characters.
Oh, okay, yeah. But usually we recast with like actors.
Wait, I'm not done.
Okay, so go ahead.
So this one includes the side characters kind of with that side plot I had mentioned. And then instead of David Hasselhoff, it's Two Hollis. Two Hollis is at the beach and he saves him, maybe with like Matt Champion or something. Matt Champion owns Shell City and then Two Hollis saves him.
So you want like white boys with a little bit of swag from the underground music scene to take the place of David Hasselhoff?
Yeah, low-key. I think that works.
You want the White Tiger to play David Hasselhoff in SpongeBob SquarePants recast Bikini Bottom movie.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, I did not
he's
even...
in jeans, obviously, as he goes through the water.
Oh, yeah, put your body on my jeans. It's not how he says it, but that's how
SpongeBob would say
that's
it.
How, put your body in my jeans, SpongeBob. And then, actually, maybe we'll recast Hasselhoff. Who's a new... I'm going to think of a new age Hasselhoff really quick. I feel like it'd be like The Rock. That would suck.
Yeah, or John Cena or something.
Oh my God, that would suck.
I feel like John Cena probably was in the new SpongeBob, Fish a Sponge Out of Water.
Probably was, yeah. Maybe it would be who's another hunk? Who's a hunky Hasselhoff nowadays? Who's another
Tatum?
Yeah, Channing Tatum. Do we have a new hunk, like young hunk?
Well, no, because muscles aren't in.
I know, muscles are so out.
Yeah, now it's all like, what do they call them? Stickmen or something.
Yeah. Obviously it's a musical in certain ways. There are songs that they sing. They got the Goofy Goober song. Yep. They got the Now That We're Men song. They got the Goofy Goober Rock song.
I love the interpolation by the Pirates of the theme song in the beginning.
Yeah, totally.
That's like a fun, we're on a big scale now. That's like on a full-size ship with like, it looks like a big-time movie.
It's a shanty version.
It's a shanty version. It really like sets the scene, and then you can bubble down into the water back to your little sponge waking up.
And then you got Ocean Man by Ween, which is the iconic one from this, which is really just the credits. It's just Ocean Man, take me by the hand, take me to the land.
Perfect. And then all the regular SpongeBob music is always done by Nicholas Carr, Steve Belfer, and contributions from Sage Guyton and Jeremy Wakefield. So
yeah,
that's kind of the classic team. That's all the ukulele stuff. And it's a lot of royalty-free music too. Those guys don't write everything for this. They'll just borrow shit that's available, but that's the cast of characters that makes a lot of the island little tunes.
Yeah, like the tropical bossa.
Yeah.
I was shocked by how much it felt like TV still.
Yeah.
I will say, like, with the music and with, it'll be like 4 hours later. Like, it still does all of that shit. And I like that it does that. But it is funny because I remember it being like, in my mind, I remember this movie as like living fully outside of the show. Like, wow, I can't believe they took SpongeBob to these heights. It is just a long episode of SpongeBob. It's just really good.
Yeah, I think it's just like I said in the very beginning, it's like animated movies really blowing up and becoming true blockbusters.
Yeah.
And so I think like you were still kind of trapped in, if you were going to make a movie about a show, it needed to have some of those beats, at least in like whatever producers' minds, to be like, well, the kids need to at least feel like this is just a long episode of TV, where now we have cinematic universes that are only blockbuster movies and they were never shows, whatever. Like we kind of built there on the backs of things like this movie. For all the love I've given it, no, probably not. I'd say unless they were like a baby.
Yeah, but there's a lot of babies who didn't grow up with like the SpongeBob that we grew up with. Like obviously it's the most popular show ever. Like everybody kind of knows it and has some sort of interaction with it. And if you just haven't seen the movie,
sure.
I think it's still it's fun to watch. And if you were like our age or like in your late 20s or something, go rewatch it and you'll have a good time.
Yeah, maybe
like
smoke a joint.
We had a good time, and I feel like it did. I saw in your eyes, it surprised you that because you were like, oh great, we're doing a fucking baby movie. And I was like, listen, it gets recommended all the time. I'm kind of curious to revisit it. And afterwards, like we had a great time watching it.
I take it back. I would recommend it, but not too enthusiastically.
Right. I mean, you listen to public radio.
Right. So you're not gonna hoodwink me with the Bob.
Yeah.
If you're high and it's like an afternoon, don't make this your nighttime movie.
No.
That's a waste of it. All right, I gave it 2.5 stars, which is pretty much 5 stars when it comes to animation for me. And I said, Bob saved by Deus Ex Machina, SMH.
You just learned what Deus Ex Machina
it's
is.
Funny.
I know, it is. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah. I gave it 5 stars and said, rock and roll is almost as powerful as friendship.
We shake with the one because we done once.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed this episode of How Did It Age. That was the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. If you want to know what movie we're watching next for this series, please join our Patreon or become a member on the main channel. We post 1 week ahead of time, let you guys know what movie we're going to be covering, so you can rewatch it. So these movies make more sense to you when you're watching. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, and thank you, SpongeBob, for everything. Rest in peace to Steven Hillenburg.
Absolutely. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Bikini Bottom.
All right, we'll see you in the next one.
Bye. Oh.
wait, DK. How about the bubbles transitions?
Oh yeah.
Let's get these going.
Yeah. And little ukulele.
No,
No,
wait,
not
no,
that.
that's Lion King.
That's Sandlot, dickhead.
My bad.
Just the island ukulele. You'll know what's up. You don't have to.
Yeah.
What? Can we do this?
Totally.